I said sit down and shut up.
All right, everybody. Welcome to the inaugural episode of the Deviant podcast. I'm one half of this. My name is Joseph Bodie. I'm here with my co-host.
I'm Joe Mancini. Welcome.
Joe Mancini, not affiliated with Mancini's Sleep World.
No, not one bit.
If you're on the West Coast here.
Unless they want to sponsor us.
Unless they want to give us a sponsorship, which you kind of should, because it makes sense. Makes sense. The name's already there.
Yeah, putting them in an uncomfortable position, but they really should.
They really should. I feel like their mattresses are like I've never had a better sleep in my entire life when I slept on a Mancini mattress. I forgot about all of my problems. My cares in the world just drifted away as I drifted away into sleep. See how good we can do that. We can do that. Easy. That was right off the cuff. So this is Deviant Podcast. This is a little bit about who we are, what we do, I guess. Real quickly, this is a podcast, I like to say, that was born of a bar. It was born out of the bar. Joe and I used to have, still have, we'd have a lot of conversations in bars that we thought were, I don't know, what would you say, Joe, relevant or not important, but just we thought intriguing. Yeah, we thought we had things to say. And we thought we had a unique perspective on topics of the day, right? There were a lot of things that were being talked about that weren't being covered or approached in ways that were in broad type of ways. Mm-hmm. So we said, hey, we have deviant opinions, we have unpopular opinions.
And we both like to hear from people with unpopular opinions.
That as well. Yes. Well, we both like to hear debate in a civilized way, in a debate in a where no one's being, I don't know, O'Reilly factor kind of shit, or in the Twitter, like not even echo chamber, but like shut down chamber, where we want to hear debate where you can feel free to express your opinion. As long as you express it logically and rationally and calmly, then we're down for it. So it was kind of that thing. It was born out of bar conversations. We said, let's start this thing. And so our not a big motto, but the motto we came up with that was, look, we're not interested in what's trending on the news or on Twitter or even in like social spheres as far as like arguments or opinions. That popularity model doesn't matter to us. What matters to us is the cogency of the argument. So Deviant Podcast is all about cogency is the only currency. If your argument makes sense, we'll listen to it, and we will countenance it. We will talk about it, and who gives a fuck if it's politically popular, socially popular, whatever. Because let's be honest, folks, a lot of times, well, not a lot, historically speaking, the arguments that were not politically popular and were not socially popular were the arguments that brought about change. And that's why we think it's important to have these deviant opinions, and that's why we're here. So that's my short spiel. A little disclaimer, we will be, we're going to entertain a lot of arguments. We're going to entertain a lot of thoughts, and some of them might be unpalatable, un-PC, whatever. And we might argue things that we don't necessarily agree with, but we're going to argue them just because they're out there. So just a little disclaimer, don't judge us. Please listen to it carefully. If you isolate a 30-second soundbite, one of us might sound like a complete and total asshole. But
and that's not fair to do anyway.
That's not fair to do.
You should not take things out of context.
Right. Well, we will be. Yeah, we're gonna. We just want to have an open. Should I say it's an unsafe space? This is a very unsafe space. I really think it is. This is an unsafe space.
Oh, for sure.
That's the whole point of this.
It's the only way it's interesting.
It's the only way it's interesting. So that's there we go. This is our first episode. We're just figuring out slogans and disclaimers and potential, merchandise things. Potential slogans we could put on T-shirts.
Just
Deviant Podcast. This is an unsafe space, and intentionally so. That's not saying we're assholes. We're not bullies. We're not jerks. But we're gonna say we don't care about. Only thing again, cogency is the only currency. I don't care if it offends you. We're gonna talk about shit that is offensive because we should.
Yeah,
and that's how we feel. So if this is not for you, God bless you. Go find another podcast. Best of luck to you. Have fun in whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
But this is what our podcast is about. So if you're still with us,
thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Seriously, thank you. We want you to still be with us. If not, if you're looking for someone to just stroke your already, preconceived PC ego, it's not going to be us. Anyway, so for
love it. Love it.
Love it. So for our inaugural episode, we thought we would talk about 1 year anniversary of another inauguration.
Yeah. Donald J. Trump.
Donald motherfucking J. Trump. And just what that means and what that, what the years mean, what his presidency means, potential impact. And a big thing about this episode we talked about is we're going to pose a lot of questions, and we really want to engage in our listenership. And I think that's a big thing about this podcast too. We want you, hopeful potential listeners, hopefully we have a big audience. We want you guys to engage with us, and we want you to respond. So we encourage you to engage with us and respond. We're going to ask a lot more questions than we are going to make like assumptions or conclusions.
Yeah.
In this episode, and probably in a lot of other episodes too. We're going to ask more questions than we are going to make conclusions. And we want to hear from you. We want you guys to engage. We want your deviant thoughts to be fucking heard.
That is huge, because you can't have deviancy without, I don't want to say crowdsourcing, but you really can't have it without like people joining in. I mean, if we create the norm here, it's going to be, we're not deviant. It's just two Joe's opinion every week. So
yeah, then we're the norm. Like you said, it's what's the phrase? Then we're just two normal Joes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Two average Joes.
Average Joes. That was the phrase. I'm so dumb. I couldn't even think of average Joes. I couldn't even think of average Joes. Yeah, then we would just be two average Joes, and we wouldn't be deviant. We need you guys to help us out. We want you guys to help us out. We want to be engaged with you as listenerships, and we want to respond to your questions, your counterpoints, your counter arguments. Like we would love to engage with all of that. So, and we want to hear what you have to say about it for sure. So keep that in mind. I'm going to say this now. We'll say it at the end of the podcast too. If you want to respond to us, you can respond to us on Twitter at Podcast Deviant. That's at Podcast Deviant. Or if you have a longer question that's not going to fit into the 240 characters.
Yeah, I think so.
Whatever. The now longer Twitter format. If you have a longer question, you want to get really more substantive with your questions and your debate, you can email us at deviantpodcast1@gmail.com. Again, on Twitter at podcastdeviant or Gmail deviantpodcast1@gmail.com. That being said, let's move on with the show.
All right. 1 year of Trump.
1 year of the what's he like affectionately called, the Cheeto Bandito? I think.
Oh yeah.
So many stupid names.
That's terrible. That's
terrible.
That's one thing that has not it has not yielded any mature names
No.
or descriptions of the president.
If
But
you want to claim somebody else is immature, you don't give them an immature nickname.
right, exactly.
Or you don't give them a nickname. You don't be the image like, oh, that guy's so immature. I'm going to
Yeah.
call him the Cheeto Bandito because
Yeah.
I'm an adult. Like,
Cheeto.
and that's what adults do.
Right.
Is give legitimate political figures nicknames. Like, he's an immature asshole. Yeah.
No, that's
So-
true. That's a good point.
I think it is.
I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna set the context and set the tone with
All right.
a quick list of what we've seen since January 20th, 2017.
Yeah. 5 days ago. Yeah. Or
Yeah.
not. January 20th was 5
370
days. Yeah, 370.
All right. So
All
here
right.
we go. He started off immediately with an executive order stating his intention to repeal the Affordable Care Act. Right after that, he pulled out of the Trans-Pacific Partnership. He moved forward with the Keystone XL and Dakota Access pipelines.
Mm-hmm.
A day after that, he signed an executive order to increase border security and fund the wall, and at the same time took aim at sanctuary cities.
Mm-hmm.
We had the proposed travel ban from 7 countries, which has not really seen anything yet, but he proposed it.
He proposed, yeah. A lot of these things haven't seen.
That's a huge point I'm going to get
That's
to.
a
Too.
huge
It's
point. But okay, keep running down the
Here we
list,
go.
fellas. Let's keep going with all the proposed ways to make America great again.
Yeah. Okay,
Right.
so huge attempt to cut regulations with the famous 2-for-1. For every regulation proposed, we're going to cut 2 other ones, I guess.
Wait, what? That was a thing? I didn't even hear about that. That was his. That was one of his. Was that a campaign promise, or
it was a campaign promise, and then he made an executive order for it.
So that are you serious?
Yeah, and I don't know if it's.
I've never heard about that. So he honestly. I'm sorry. I know we said I wouldn't interject when you were reading the list, but this is too good. I know we talked about this before we started recording. They're like, Joe, just don't let me read the list. Otherwise, we're going to get off track. But so he not only proposed, but also signed into order that said that for every regulation that was passed,
it was
cut 2.
It was a vague campaign promise that then became an executive order, and now I think it might relate more to like business regulation. So
he really is the fast food president. That's a fast
2-for-1. The
2-for-1. 2-for-1. He's a twofer. 2-for-1. Why not get 2 Whoppers for $5 at Burger?
He's running it like a business, Joe. Come on, he said he was going to.
He eats McDonald's, not Burger King.
Yeah.
It's not too big. It's too no. I did not know about. For every regulation, I will slash.
I don't know the details of it. I know it was written into his.
Eventually, you're like, oh, you passed a lot of shit. God damn it, I got to slash another regulation.
Yeah.
This one says you can't discriminate against black people, but I got nothing. I guess I got to slash that, like based on my 2-for-1 policy. Like, oh man, it's so dangerous and stupid. Anyway, okay, keep going down the list. We'll get back to that one.
All right, so we've got, well, of course, his famous controversial cabinet picks like Betsy DeVos and Jeff Sessions.
Mm-hmm.
They were appointed and sworn in. Then we had an executive order to end the war on coal. I mean, now that wasn't the actual order was more broad than that, but that was one of the provisions
that was like the intent of the order,
right?
Yeah, to bring back the coal jobs like he promised. Which
exactly.
Everybody knows is bullshit, but anyways.
Yeah, well, exactly.
Those jobs are dead for a reason. But
the next day we had the executive order that would create the Commission on Combating the Opioid Crisis.
Mm.
Soon after that, he retaliated against Syria after their chemical attack on their people.
Mm-hmm.
Day after that, we had the appointment of
that was the great Spicer comment.
what was that?
The Syria, the chemical weapons attack.
What was his comment? I forget.
Oh, that was when Spicer said, "Well, even Hitler didn't use chemical weapons on his people."
Oh, that's right.
That was a great Spicer moment when people were like, "Wait, well, but I mean, not directly, but there was gas chambers, dude. Like,
Right.
what are you talking about? Like, really? Like, no, he didn't. Like, yeah, that was the great Sean Spicer moment when he was like, well, I mean, Syria's so bad because they're using, even Hitler didn't use chemical weapons. And everyone's like, well, hold on, buddy. Hold on a minute, dude.
You know what's funny is like a year
Right,
moved.
he definitely used gas, and 6 million people, really, 6 million people died, dude. Like, fuck off. Like, you can't compare the two.
It's crazy to look back at Spicer, man. Like a year moves that fast, you know?
Right. And there's been so
It's
many,
like
like,
ancient.
yeah.
That's crazy.
A quick aside. Let's not get like. I want you to keep reading through the list. So, but man, you got to take the wins where you get the wins. I think you know what I mean. Like in a Trump's presidency, like you gotta be happy about the little things. And Anthony Scaramouche, the Mooch. I was so happy about the Mooch. I loved him.
Oh yeah.
I cannot fucking wait for this guy to be the press secretary. I cannot. And comedians everywhere were like, "Fuck yeah,
Yeah.
this is gonna be great." This guy's a total asshole and an idiot, and he really he can't do any damage. He's not influencing policy or anything, so it's not like, we can be happy about this without feeling bad about being happy about it because he's just going to be a funny movie. It's going to be hilarious. And he was gone in a week. He was gone in like a week. Oh,
I forgot about that. I mean, I remembered the Mooch, but I forgot about. Yeah, that's crazy.
Oh, he would have been, dude. He would have been.
Oh God.
Oh man, there were so many gems in like the week and a half he was doing that job. He said so many great things. He said he accused Steve Bannon of sucking his own dick, for God's sake.
That's right. Oh,
in an official interview with the New York, this guy would have been amazing. Oh, it would have given us all the levity that we deserve.
Exactly.
From like distracting us from all this other shit. He would have been the comic relief that we needed. And instead we got Sarah Huckabee Sanders, who looks like a fucking
it's
a sociopathic Eeyore.
Yeah.
She looks depressed and homicidal at the same time.
That's kind of true. She reminds you of like a like when you have a buddy who like has that bitchy sister and you go over and she's like, "What are you doing?" You know?
What are you doing here?
Yeah.
but then Sarah Huckabee Sanders would follow it up when she's like, "What are you doing here? I'm gonna kill you when you sleep."
Yeah.
There's nothing funny about her. She's just deranged. The Mooch was just a comic book character. I mean, he's deranged too. Don't get me wrong.
He's deranged, yeah.
Guy is a sociopath. Yeah, I'm sure he is. But he was so cartoonish. It was hilarious.
Oh, I think
But now we have to deal with Dexter Eeyore.
There's a lot of cartoonish things about this administration.
So okay, so all right, what was the thing before we derailed?
So we had retaliated against Syria.
Okay, yeah. And that's what got us.
The day after that, we had the appointment of Supreme Court Justice Neil Gorsuch.
Mm-hmm.
He pulled out of the Paris Climate Agreement, very controversial.
He
reversed the withdrawal from Afghanistan, which in a what is it that people like to say, a very presidential statement or something, where it's like, I don't know, it's funny that people use that phrase, but anyway,
they only use that phrase for him.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, he shocked us today.
Well, he was very presidential when he said, they didn't say it about Obama. They didn't say it about Bush. Bush. And Bush, and W couldn't even conjugate a fucking verb, but he always sounded presidential.
Exactly.
There was the only time people are using that as a descriptive adjective is with Trump. Well,
he did sound presidential.
Well,
gotta hand it to him.
He actually, I got to give it to him. He did sound very presidential.
Very appropriate as the
He's
president.
the only one. Everyone else, they're fucking president.
Yeah.
Of course they sound
Of course
presidential.
they sound like it.
Of course they sound like the job they have. Yeah.
Okay, we're almost
Oh,
done
yeah.
here.
That's-
We had
Okay.
so the next month we had now this has become a mess since it happened, but he instructed Congress to make a law in regard to DACA, and of course we don't really know where that's at right now.
Yeah.
Another big one, endorsed Jerusalem as Israel's capital and proposed to place the U.S. embassy there.
And then the United Nations rejected that.
Yeah.
100%. Like not 100%, but it was like an overwhelming. It was like 85-2 for some shit. It was like an overwhelming majority of the United Nations were like, nope, not doing that. Anyways.
Yeah. Now, what I'm not clear on is if that mattered or if they just said that and were doing it anyway. I didn't really ever follow up on it, but.
Well, I think that whole thing, that whole like executive order or presidential decree of the Israel-Palestine relations, we should save that for another episode. That's true.
Probably.
Yeah, let's just move on. Not to say it's very important, Israelis and Palestinians.
Yeah.
Like it's very important. We don't have a time to get into it right now.
Yeah. True. Very true.
Intricacies of that, yeah. Of how fucked up what he did was. It's really fucked up. But anyways.
And then we had he kind of at this a little bit in the same tone as the DACA thing. The Justice Department rescinded the Obama administration's ease of enforcement of federal marijuana laws. Now that's where I ended this list. Yeah. But there's a couple major big things that don't have a single date to them, but he's increased I guess you could say tensions with North Korea, another big aspect of his.
Really? You think so? You think so? I mean, when you give a leader of another world power a nickname,
yeah,
a derogatory, diminishing nickname like Little Rocket Man. Yeah, I think that kind of increases tensions.
And it's like the root of some of his best tweets.
And then he responds with an 18th century insult. He called Trump, what was it, I'm going to have to look it up.
Yeah, let me know when you see it.
Yeah,
but
okay.
It totally spawned some of the best tweets with why would Kim Jong-un call me this name when I would never call him a what was that tweet? Oh, it was so fucking funny. And then he had the Rocket Man one, huh?
Well, yeah. Trump called him Little Rocket Man first. And apparently Trump said, why would Kim Jong-un insult me by calling me old when I would never, all caps, I would never, all caps. Look, he's a fucking 19-year-old sorority chick. I would never.
I love this.
I would never do this to you.
Yeah.
I would never call him short and fat.
Right.
Never. You could just see the fucking 20-year-old sorority chick with I would never.
Yeah.
Never call you short and fat. I don't see why. You would possible. I don't understand why you call me fat then. Why would you call me fat? I would never call you short and fat.
That was an amazing tweet.
I forgot about that one.
That was so fucking funny.
Well, no, I did. After Trump called him Little Rocket Man, Kim Jong-un tweeted back and called him. It was some fucking Jane Austen insult. Called him it wasn't.
Huh?
It's not buffoon. Oh yeah, that's right. So Kim Jong-un. So Trump calls Kim Jong-un Little Rocket Man, right? And then Kim Jong-un responds and calls him a dotard.
Dotard.
Dotard. Right. That was the one.
I forgot about
Dotard. Everyone was like, we forgot about that insult. That's an amazing, and it was so much better. It was such a, it was a, like the fucked up thing is North Korea won in that insult war because Trump was like little rocket man, and we were like, yeah, that's not really creative, and he was like dotard, and we were like, yeah, dotard, fucking way to bring it back, man. Way to, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like if someone, it's like if someone breaks out a, you know, it's some insult from the '80s and just totally kills
yeah,
right? And they totally win.
just for
You're just at the bar or you're hanging out somewhere talking shit, and this guy calls you a fucking, you know, and and somebody gives you the old Dave Coulier, like, cut it out.
yeah,
And somehow they pull it off.
right.
Right. And you're like, fuck, that guy just killed me, destroyed me, but cut it out.
Cut it out. Yeah, who would have thought?
That's what Kim Jong Il did with Dotard. He totally won. He totally won that with this antiquated insult that over half of Americans were like, I don't know what that means.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great fucking.
Totally won. Anyways, that was worth the time it took to look it up because
Totally worth it.
totally worth it. It was just more intelligent than our president's insult.
Yeah, little rocket
What's
man.
going on with the
Little on the nose.
Little on the nose, but he was. Yeah, I mean, it's not hilarious, but you know.
What time did we start recording? By the way,
I don't know.
I don't know either. I was just thinking, like, what's 45 minutes? Then I was like, I don't remember when we started.
All right, so here's another thing we're gonna. I think if I. All right, hold on. We're at 30 minutes.
Okay.
If we don't cut anything out, we're at 30 minutes, which we're gonna cut some of this out.
Yeah, yeah.
We're gonna cut this out.
Exactly.
Right.
So
I'd say we got 15, 20 minutes left.
okay.
So let's go 9:20.
Okay. I mean, I'm not like, I don't know how you feel. An hour long, I wouldn't shit my pants over it being an hour long. But
An hour, and I'm not going to shit my pants. That's as far as I want to go.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, an hour. Yeah. So we've got another half hour.
Okay. So I'll try to make the
Edit.
next-
We're going to edit some of this out. We're going to edit this out.
yeah.
So.
I'll try to make the rest of my segment pretty short here. But
Oh, you have more? I thought you were done.
well, I have my comments. I have my questions and comments.
Oh, okay. I was kidding. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I go for it.
Gotcha. I turned the screen so I couldn't see what you said. I couldn't see you on the video. Okay, resuming our podcast. Okay, so that is the rough list of major points of Trump's presidency in 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
I did skip over certain factors like the economy and like the military defeat of ISIS because it's very hard to attribute that, in my opinion, to the first year of a presidency.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. Like every president, like that's the thing with presidencies, though. Presidents get either praise or blame for shit that they had nothing to do with, right? That happens.
Exactly.
So it's a lot like Trump now talking about how the Dow is reaching record numbers.
Right.
He's only been in office a year. He had nothing to do with it. But
Yeah.
every president does that. That's, to be fair, that's not just Trump.
No, not at all. I'm just not.
Every president does that.
Yeah, I'm just not counting it as like in his list of things he's explicitly done because you know it's something he might want to take credit for, but I don't know if it's that simple. The other elephant in the room is I totally glossed over the FBI investigation of his campaign. Again, because it's not something like he explicitly did in his presidency, although it is worth factoring into the evaluation of his presidency.
It definitely is, yeah.
Which leads to the question. I mean, it's granted, it's been a chaotic like first year of his administration. And very complex too. I mean, he's set out to reduce the size of government, but he's also done that with, so far he's done that with more executive orders. Like if he kept this pace up, he would have more executive orders than any president in the past 50 years, including Obama, obviously, which he kind of made a point of like, he made a point of criticizing Obama for doing that. So
well, everyone did. That's a fair
right.
point to make too. Everyone, when Obama was making the executive orders, the narrative was, "Oh, we're living under a tyrant and a king," and Trump's doing executive orders at like twice the speed, three times
Right.
the speed, and those same and conservatives don't seem to have a problem. They're not calling him a tyrant or a king or a monarchy or whatever. But when Obama was doing it, it was a monarchy or a kingship or a tyrantship or whatever, right?
Exactly.
That's something to take into consideration, I think, as well.
And it's like,
And that happens all the fucking time.
right.
Just with partisan politics, that happens all the time.
So I guess the question I pose is, I mean, first of all, what is the sum of all of this? Like, and this is a simple question, but has the first year been good or bad? My assessment is that, like, I mean, I'm not going to give a definitive answer, but my assessment is that a lot of this stuff has gone either nowhere or it's moving very slowly, which is like typical of government, So it's kind of hard to say. I mean, everyone has freaked out over so many of these things. Like, you had the transgender tweet, about transgender in the military.
Well, you had a lot of tweets that went.
Which aren't explicitly actions, but those are the things people freaked out over, and that's what I'm interested in. Is like,
and that's
how has reporting about his administration affected?
And a lot of people think that the tweet about transgender people in the military was only done as a calculated distraction, and that depends on like how much credit you want to give Trump. Like, is he that much of a strategist?
I don't think so. I think that notion has been absurd, not just with the transgender tweet, but throughout his presidency so far.
But at the same time, it does seem like that tweet, if it was a distraction, if that's the reason it was tweeted out, that it was very effective.
Yeah.
The media, everyone else talked about that shit for a good month and a half. And it distracted everybody from like the Russia investigation, from other shit going on. We didn't know, like a lot of major media news outlets weren't talking about anything else going on in the White House other than how fucked up is this ban, which wasn't even a ban, because the Pentagon was like, we haven't gotten a memo. We don't, they were like, we're not gonna. No, it's not official. This is a tweet. The Pentagon was like, fuck you. That's a tweet. We're not gonna. Why are you talking about this?
Exactly.
We're not gonna.
It's an example.
We're not gonna enforce a tweet.
Exactly. And it's an example of another thing that, like, even executive orders, which are more obviously not even more official, they are official, whereas the tweet isn't. Even those haven't gone anywhere yet. Like, some of the major ones, like the travel ban. The travel ban hasn't gone anywhere.
And the travel ban's being bounced back and forth between all these different circuit courts and different Supreme Courts and different state courts and blah.
Yeah.
So it's the executive order has been signed, but the constitutionality of that order is
exactly
widely under debate. Right.
But I guess that's my point, is some people would say, oh, the fact that he even made an executive order saying that is major. And to me, I don't know. And I'm not saying I disagree with that, but to me, it's like, these are just examples of things that he promised in his campaign that he's doing now, but they haven't gone anywhere. Like, if they haven't yielded a disastrous result, can we really say, like, how much can we factor that into, his presidency and what he's achieved or not achieved?
Well, we can definitely factor into what he's achieved, for sure. I think they're still important. I think they're still relevant in terms of like, what are his intentions? Like, he's still playing to that base. He's still playing to all the promises he made to that base. In terms of the travel ban, the wall, the transgender ban, all that kind of stuff.
And that's, I would say, a huge part of the criticism of his administration so far is intention.
Yeah. I think my question would be, is he doing it because is it all fanfare? Is it all pomp and circumstance and just fanfare, or is it things he really actually wants to accomplish?
Yeah.
Right? Is it showmanship, or is it actual, like, he wants these policies to get enacted at some point,
Hmm.
or is it just fanfare? Because he said I'm going to do this, so I'll do it. So I'll sign an executive order that I know is going to get nowhere. But
Yeah.
I don't care. Who cares? But he doesn't, he's
Hmm.
going to move forward. He's an easily persuadable dude, man. That's the other thing. Like, when he meets with Democrats, he caves like a motherfucker. And then he meets with the Republicans like 30 minutes later, and he caves to them.
Hmm.
It seems as if he has no like moral compass, it seems as if he has no moral bedrock, political bedrock.
Right.
Because this has happened recently, especially with the DACA stuff. He meets with Democrats, and they're like, "Okay, look, here, we'll give you blah 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 blah. Don't do it, like, put the walls off the table." And he's like, "Sounds great. Sounds like I got everything I wanted." They're like, "Yeah, you did." And they convince him. They're like, he's like a little kid. They're like, "Yeah, you got everything you wanted. You had the lollipop and the teddy bear, and you had all the prizes from the ski ball and blah, blah, blah." And he walks out of the meeting like, "Oh, that was good." Then he meets with Republicans 30 minutes later, and he caves to them because they know how to, it's all flattery. It's all flattery. And
Yeah.
so
So
he has no more. It seems as if he has no moral bedrock, or not more. I'm going to say political bedrock.
what you're
I'm
saying,
going to take morality off of it. I'm just going to say he has no political bedrock.
yeah.
Because he caves to all the time. He's just caving to Democrats, and he caves to Republicans, and he caves to these. Like, doesn't matter as long as people come in there and stroke his fucking ego. He caves.
So what you're saying adds to my question then about, like, not only how has Trump's presidency in the first year been as a sum, but how have we been? And what you're saying is interesting to me because I believe I'm a little disappointed in political discourse now. And so the stuff you're saying brings up all kinds of questions to me. Like, are the people freaking out about Trump? Are they freaking out because he's ill-intentioned, or are they freaking out because he's a weak leader? And the things you're saying are like,
That's a good distinction.
He's not some genius evil mastermind, which, by the way, I've never bought into these cartoonish caricatures of him, but like, I don't think he's some like 4D chess mastermind.
No, he's
at
not.
all.
He's
And
not.
so
Really not. No.
then that in turn, then
I don't buy into that either. Yeah,
then it's the criticism that he's a wishy-washy, weak leader. And are the reactionary social media posts and think pieces and articles like justified?
I think they are on. I think they are on some level, right? But I think they're more about his like the. I think a lot of the articles, the think pieces, the clickbait shit being written about him are more about his like supposed policies and supposed, political leanings, and less about his effectiveness as a leader, and less about his convictions. Like I said, like less about like, does he have political bedrock? Is he anchored in a political ideology? Like you would expect, like if you have a Republican president, you would expect them to be anchored in some sort of political ideology. If you have a Democratic president, you would expect them to be anchored in some sort of political bedrock. Trump's not. He's not. I just think we've seen that time and time again. He can be swayed by whoever's going to flatter him the most, right? And a lot of the articles that we see written about him are more about the social impact, right? That he's, the racial impact. And I'm not saying these aren't justified, but I'm just saying, but the racial impact, the part of the LGBTQ community, the military community, whatever, like the social impact of it, right? And how unfit. And I'm not saying he's fit to lead in those areas either, but I do think it's important, and it is something we should be concerned about. But the bigger question is the bigger issue is that he has no political bedrock.
Yeah.
That we have a president that can be swayed. That if you flatter him enough, so okay, like you have a president that Democrats come in, they flatter him, they stroke his ego, they suck his fucking metaphorical dick, and he's like, "Yeah, let's do that." He was all in with that one meeting with the Democrats and the Dreamers. He was all in to sign the deal. Day or two later, Republicans come in, they stroke his ego, they suck his dick, they tell him he's great. This is a guy who has daily meetings that are solely revolved around people coming in telling him how great he is. Right? He has daily briefings, like there's a bunch of people sitting around the table being like, "Oh, Trump, you're so good." So I think that's the bigger question, because that the lack of, there's no political ideological bedrock, and it's just all narcissism and ego. Then if you look at that, what does that look like? It's dangerous on a homeland scale when Republicans and Democrats come in.
I was just going to bring this up.
But it's even more concerning on an international scale.
So that's true.
It's gonna lead a lot of international leaders, politicians from other countries, to not respect America at all. Oh, we know their president. We can just go in and flatter him. We can go in and tell him whatever he wants to hear, and he's going to go along with us. And it happened recently. It happens all the time, you know. So I think. I mean, I'm not saying his stance on social issues is definitely it's concerning. I'm not saying it's not a problem. It's definitely problematic, and it's definitely fucked up the way he views certain, shithole countries and all. Like, yeah, I mean, he's, in my opinion, he's a racist, transphobic, homophobic. Like, yeah, I'm all on board with that. I think that's really true. That being said, I don't think that's, surprisingly enough, I don't think that's the big issue for our president. I think the big issue for our president is that international world leaders know if they come in and flatter him and suck his fucking dick, they can get him to do whatever they want. That's a big problem.
That was totally part of, so that was something I was thinking about earlier, because I was recently in my hometown, and I have a friend who's like very educated and very informed. And we were talking, and like, for me, through the past year, I've kind of gone the other direction, where like I started off very panicky about Trump. And then each time something happened, I was like, well, okay, here's the non-hyperbolic take on that. Like, no, he's not destroying DACA. He's like saying that there has to be a rule of law. And for better or worse, whatever, I understand that. Like, it's never as simple as like Trump's going after weed. It's like, there's always another story, another side. So I'm not saying that I have 100% agreed with him, but I've been disappointed in just like how crazy things get, like how crazy, how fast they get, where it's just like hyperbole and nonsense. So I asked my friend, I was like, what do you think are like the worst things that Trump has done in the last year? And his answer, as a very well-traveled guy and very informed guy, was internationally is like his biggest concern, which I found interesting, because he was like,
because that matters so much.
It does matter, but a big reason that he said was things used to be done a certain way, and now they're not. Like, Trump, instead of going through the back channels, Trump is like putting it on Twitter. And I don't know if I agree with that. I agree with his. It's one of those things where it's like, I got the right answer in math, but for the wrong reason.
Yeah.
Like when your teachers wouldn't say that to you. Yeah. So I agree with him. Internationally, it could be damaging, but I don't know that exposing the workings matters to me. Like, I don't know that I care if he tweets to like Kim Jong-un or what. That's a bad example.
Well, I don't know if that's the worst of it.
Right.
You know, when you're saying like, I think the biggest problem with Trump is the way that we are perceived internationally.
Mm-hmm.
Foreign governments know, hey, we can manipulate the fuck out of this guy. And
But do you care about his channels
such
of
a fucking
communication?
doofus, we can do it. But
Yeah.
they're thinking about it in one-on-one. Like, that's more important and more damaging than him tweeting. Him tweeting is just impropriety. And
Yeah.
it's embarrassing.
Yeah.
But it's not as damaging as foreign leaders realizing Donald Trump's the fucking president.
Right.
Milk this guy for all he's worth. And I guarantee you, dude, there's a lot of world leaders that have that attitude. I can milk this guy for all he's worth. I'm gonna get what I fucking want. You know, and that's more damaging. His tweets are embarrassing. I don't think they're really damaging.
Yeah.
They're embarrassing as fuck. They're not dangerous. They're not damaging. They're just embarrassing as shit. And they shouldn't be happening, but it's nowhere on the list of concerns. It's very low. It's insanely low to me, you know. But I think there may be a possible silver lining for Trump's presidency. Maybe a possible silver lining. And that silver lining is that nobody thought. I mean, we've had actor presidents or celebrity presidents before. Look at Reagan. We had, you know.
Yeah.
But he was a senator before, and he worked his way up, and you know. We have like Jesse Ventura, but he's a senator. He's not whatever. We've had actor celebrity people go into these like political offices, but it's never reached the point where we have a complete and utter buffoon convince the American public that he's fit to lead the country. You know what I mean? But I think that might be the silver lining is that people wake the fuck up and they're like, oh, this is how bad it's got. I mean, because I've been saying this for a good almost 2 decades now. You know, as a punk rock kid, as a guy raised on punk rock music and always been concerned about campaign finance reform way before Citizens United. Like, I always knew there was a problem with American democracy that nobody, you know, nobody seemed like overtly concerned with.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe, and just the celebrity ship and blah blah blah, the dumbing down. I mean, I even think it's relevant that, like, look at fucking the network Bravo. They used to show operas. It's all Bravo showed was operas and plays and highfalutin intellectual shit. And now it's like reality TV. It's a dumbing down of
the worst kind, yeah.
The worst kind of shit. And they used to be one of the most intellectual. They used to be up there with the fucking New Yorker and, you know, all this kind of stuff, right? I realize this is kind of a tangent, but I'm just saying, like, so I think all of this has led us to Donald Trump. The fact that a network that used to show operas and like high intellectual shit is now showing reality TV. The History Channel used to show insightful, you know, well, we call it the Hitler Channel, but
yeah, right.
It was all World War II all the fucking time. It was the Hitler Channel, but now they have Pawn Stars and a show about, you know, the custom motorcycles and all this shit. It's a dumbing down of America, and Trump's the logical conclusion of that. And so I think. I think Trump's a logical conclusion of that, of a dumbing down of America. And I think you can see the dumbing down of America. I'm not saying it's intentional or not manipulated. I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist about this, but you can just look at the trends, and it's clear that, you know, when you look at what TV networks, public radio, other radio stations used to show, et cetera, and then we elect the real. What's the silver lining is maybe now more people realize, holy fuck, we've gone too far.
Yeah.
God damn it! This reality TV show star, this shyster real estate mogul is now fucking president. We need to wake the fuck up and get out in the streets and do something fucking different. That's the potential silver lining. Is that people are like, nope, I never thought this could happen. All the polls said it couldn't happen. It happened. And maybe Trump is. Oh, this is gonna be horrible. Maybe Trump is like the political 9/11, and we're all like, never again.
Yeah.
Never forget the 4 years this fucking asshole was in charge. Maybe that's the silver lining, is that this is the presidential equivalency of 9/11.
I think I agree. I mean, I think, like, kind of like my friend was saying, his whole point was like, there used to be a way that things were done. And that's where I disagreed with him, is because to me, like, there's no love lost between me and the establishment, or me and like the way things used to get done politically. Fuck all that. Like, and I'm not saying that this means I support everything Trump does, but since he's been elected and it's already happening, if he's going to be the thing that like exposes like or turns on its head the way things typically get done in Washington, I don't fucking care, really. Like, I don't care if that never comes back. I mean, that doesn't mean like what he's doing is okay, but like kind of what you're saying, it's one of those silver linings that like, since this is already happening, hopefully we're going to see this happen. We're going to see this as the result,
Yeah.
Because I don't give a shit if we never go back to that.
Well, that's the only silver lining I see. Well, I don't want us to go back to like the way we used to do shit. I hope the silver lining is more,
progressive or change or going forward.
Well, just more revolutionary. I'm a fucking anarchist, so I hope this like leads us to watch the world burn. That's what I want to happen. But
I wouldn't mind that.
Not the world burn, but like lead us to watch the system burn, and then we build something new. And a lot of our founding fathers thought that way too. Like Thomas Jefferson, John Adams. They never expected this shit to last longer than 50 years without some sort of revolution. I mean, Thomas Jefferson's quoted as saying, the revolution. He wanted a revolution every like 20 years. I think he wanted an overthrow like they had when they founded this country, because blood was good for the soil of the tree of liberty. Was his quote.
Mm-hmm.
John Adams felt the same way. He thought there was this shouldn't go on unchecked beyond I think 100 years or so. So even our founding fathers were like, no, if you keep what we've set up, if you keep that in place long enough, it's going to get corrupt as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
They knew it, and they were like, no, you should keep this for about 100 years, and then violently, they wanted us to be French, and then violently overthrow those motherfuckers, decapitate them, start something new, and yeah. So maybe, I mean, Trump is... Silver lining might be too strong, but Trump is the logical conclusion of this experiment. He really is. It's not surprising. If you look at the why and how of him getting into that office, it's not surprising. It's really not. It's shocking and disappointing.
Yeah, but
and whatever. But it's really not surprising. Like,
but I think.
A lot of American people were just. He had celebrity, he had showmanship, and he had a message that was tailor-made, via his like PR department or campaign managers. He had a message that was tailor-made to them,
mm-hmm.
and it worked.
Yeah, and I honestly don't think silver lining is too strong of a word. If establishment politics gets obliterated in the process, I think he's less expedient than he said he was going to be. He acted like, obviously with the drain the swamp stuff, but I don't think that's happening. But even if it happens in some way where we all start to see like the way things typically are working, and like we contrast it with like if there was an establishment president, you know,
Yeah.
I wouldn't care, I guess is my point. Wouldn't care if we never went back to it.
Yeah, no, nor would I. And I think that's my hope for this presidency. For this, that's my hope for the silver lining for this presidency is like it wakes people up, and it's obvious that an overwhelming majority of us wanted an anti-establishment candidate. It was
Right.
Trump and Bernie who had the majority of people's support. And those, what do they have in common? Anti-establishment, right?
Totally.
So it was obvious that that's what the American public wants. Like, we want to change. We all want to change. It's just, hopefully Trump's not the change that we stick with.
Yeah.
And but again, that silver lining, I hope it just wakes people up. It could happen. Yeah, I don't know. So it's definitely been one thing we can say. It's been a hell of a ride.
Yeah.
For the first year. We got 3 more to go.
Yeah, exactly.
Pending impeachment, which I like. My money's on not going to happen.
I don't think it will either.
I think he's going to ride the 4 years out. I think.
Yeah. I think so. I think if he rode 1 year out, he's going to ride 4 out, to be honest. But
I think so. Yeah. I mean, special investigations like the Mueller investigation, dude. That's going to take fucking 6 years to complete the investigation.
That's the other thing. Is
everyone's like, oh,
yeah,
the Mueller investigation is going to impeach him. It's going to take him 6 years to get the government investigation. No, Trump's going to be either. We might impeach him in his second term. God hope not. Or he's not going to get elected again, and then drop the investigation. But it's going to take at least 5 to 6 years.
That's
that shit. Right?
Really where I stand is that nothing's going to happen because government moves too slow. And so Trump, has these executive orders and he's proposed these things, but they're going to get stagnated. They're going to get stalled and stagnated. The investigation's going to, like you said, either stall or take forever. So really, we are going to go back to the way things have been because it all fucking moves so slow, Yeah. There's no way.
No way, dude. There's no way. It's not like all the think piece articles and like it's so fucking stupid. All the Democratic senators, everyone's like, any day now, the Mueller investigation is gonna. Are you really? You know how Washington works. It's not any day now. It's not the first 48 on A&E.
Exactly.
They fucking they meant to catch the guy because his buddy Below rats him out. You know what I mean? Like, I saw him with a gun. That's not how this shit works.
No.
They have to compile a huge fucking case. So look, he's gonna ride out the 4 years and we're gonna have to deal with it. And yeah, the first year has been a roller coaster. I mean, I don't know, for lack of a better phrase, a roller coaster of emotions. And I mean, I've never been really depressed about it. I've been pissed off as fuck about a lot of shit that he did.
Yeah.
But I'm just interested in what our listeners are gonna have to say about all this. I just want to again reiterate that we've touched on a lot of points about Trump. It's been a year. He's been in office. There's a lot of questions, a lot of looming shit. And I'm sure anyone that is listening to this is going to have an opinion about that. So, and we want to respond to it. We want to engage you. We want to, hell, we'll even have you on the fucking show.
Definitely. I'd actually like to flip it around.
Okay.
And I definitely want to hear people's thoughts on the presidency in the first year.
Okay.
But I want to flip a mirror toward us, not as a podcast, but as people.
Okay.
Because, political discourse has gotten crazy. Not just since Trump's been elected, even before that, but it's it's reached a fever pitch right now. So I'd like to hear if people think are we overreactionary to things that happen nowadays with social media and like so much user generated content? Are we becoming like, has the media gone crazy and are we going crazy? Is it just that the administration is a mess, or is like, could anyone be in office and we'd still be like fucking nuts about every little thing, you know? I'd like to hear like what people think about that.
Okay. Yeah. That's a good question to throw out there too. Yeah. So have we gone crazy? Has the media gone crazy? Is the media
Yeah.
being unfair? Is the media being more sensationalist than they usually
That typically, right?
typically are, right? With this president versus past presidents, are we? I think that's a good question. I do think that is a good. It does seem like there's more think pieces with this president, right? Like more clickbait articles,
Yeah, for sure.
more attacking. And is there? Yeah, well, let's just throw that question out there. Like, should we? Has Donald Trump been given a fair shake? Even with all, like, there's a lot of negative shit that we've covered, that we've talked about too, like even that. But has he done positive things that aren't getting talked about? Is he given a, is he, is the coverage like a, on a one-to-one basis, I guess, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's a good question. And any other thing we've talked about on this whole, on this episode,
Just like to hear people's comments, you know?
Yeah. And we just run down the things that have happened in this past year.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we want to hear from you. That's the point of this podcast. We want to be engaged with our listeners. We want to have discussions. We want to have deviant discussions. We want to have discussions that are discussions and not fucking arguments, not Facebook, tear downs and all that, whatever else. So please hit us up on Twitter at Podcast Deviant. You can also email us at deviantpodcast1@gmail.com. Email us with questions, thoughts, long form arguments in the email are okay. We'll address those. If you want to be on the show, let us know.
Yeah.
All you gotta do is download Zoom or even just call in. You don't even have to download the app. We can still have you on as audio. We want to have you on. We want to talk to you guys. We want to be engaged. That's the Deviant community.
Exactly.
Right?
Especially if you have a point of view that's like, even outside of what we talked about, or especially outside of what we talked about. That would be even.
Yeah, I think, especially if you feel you have a point of view that's, for whatever reason, isn't being heard, but you think it's insanely valid, definitely reach out to us. And if we think it's valid too, you'll be on in a second, right? If you feel ostracized, if you're in Kansas and you have some, or you're just in some weird community, nobody in Kansas will listen to you because you're the one rational dude there, hey,
we'll listen.
We will definitely fucking listen. As long as it's rational, as long as you're not like, oh, the cows are aliens and they
right. Yeah, we're not
watching me every night when I sleep, and
we're
nobody in my community believes. Well, nobody in your community believes you because you're a fucking moron. We're gonna screen the emails, like guys.
Yeah,
we are gonna screen the emails, but we definitely want to hear from you if you feel like you got a valid point that's being underrepresented, underheard, or dismissed for some bullshit fucking reason, and you think it's a valid argument. That's what Deviant's about, and we definitely want to fucking hear from you.
Yeah.
So again, please hit us up at Deviant Podcast on Twitter or deviantpodcast1@gmail.com. And I guess we'll see you next week.
Yeah.
Right? I feel like we're done here.
I think we're done. Episode 1 is done.
Episode 1's in the wraps. All right, all you potential deviants.
You can watch this on YouTube, or you can hear it on iTunes?
iTunes.
Deal? Yeah.
iTunes for right now, and hopefully we'll branch out to other places. But yeah, you can watch the video on YouTube, and you can hear us on iTunes. We'll have the information. We'll have all the links in the description for where to watch. We'll tweet it out too.
Yeah.
So,
exactly.
and all you deviants, we'll fucking see you next week. Keep doing fucked up shit as long as it's ethical.
Not legal, just ethical.
Yeah, just ethical. That's where I want to end it. All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night.